Welcome to Lizzie U. I'm Lynn Bell, and today I'm going to show you how to fill your entire quilt area with one start and one stop. Quilters, this is your moneymaker, so listen up. To get started, of course, we're in the home screen, and we're going to go to the Quilt Magician, which is our little robot, and he is yellow when he's on. I have already set my quilt area. You should know how to do that, and there is another video on how to do that if you don't. So I've already set my quilt area, and I don't have to set a pattern box because my quilt area is my pattern box for this particular work because I'm filling the entire quilt area. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select a pattern. I'm going to go to the folder that says Patterns on the left, and I'm going to select the 3 daisies. And then I'm going to go over here and check that that is what I want, and now I have 3 daisies. Now on the right, I'm going to go into my repeat screen, which is the square with 2 arrows and a plus right here at the top. Now I'm going to repeat these horizontally. I'll give it 4. Because I'm going to scale it later. And now here comes what most people don't realize, we call it the tricky part. I'm now going to select that same pattern again. I'm going to go into Patterns, I'm going to select the 3 daisies again. You'll see that there's a little square on top of this set of 3 daisies, and until you touch it, you can't tell that it's a separate pattern. I touched it, and now you can see the little dots that show that it's a separate pattern on top of the first one. So I'm going to go to my Move part of the menu right here, this icon that is 2 crossed arrows, and I'm going to go here to this one, and I'm going to nudge it down. You can see it moving. And I like the way that looks, so that's where I'm going to keep it. Now I'm going to go back to my repeat menu, which is right above that, and I'm going to repeat again horizontally until I have 4, which is what I had in the first row. Now as you can see, I have 1 start and 1 stop on this row, and 1 start and 1 stop on this row. Before I go back to the other row or anything else, I am going to go down here to the far right in the bottom icon that is lit up, and it is the 2 arrows that go in a circle with a dot and a square in them. That means that's reversing your start and stop, and I'm going to push that. So now I have a start here, a stop, a start, and a stop. Now what I'm going to do is merge these 2 rows. So I'm going to go to the merge, which is again to the far right, and it's the second to the last down. It's the 2 arrows and squares going into 1 square. I merge it. Now I have 1 start and 1 stop. Now I have 1 pattern here as far as the Quilt Magician is concerned. So I'm going to go back into my repeat menu, and I'm going to repeat vertically 1 row. So it's pretty well filled there. Now I need to scale it so that it fills my entire quilt area, because you can see I'm okay here, but I'm a little short on this side. So I'm going to go into Scale, which is the square with the diagonal arrow through it. I'm going to go to Smart Scale, which is the graduation cap, and I like the way that looks. Now I'm going to merge the whole thing. And now I have 1 start and 1 stop. The other thing I have to do is to check my jump stitch. Jump stitch is the Quilt Magician's tolerance for how far it will go without making you stop and cut the thread. To do that, I have to go into Settings. I'm going to go to Jump Stitch, and right now it is set at 6. I'm going to leave it at 6, but if I wanted to change it to 4 or to any other number, I just change the number up here and tell it OK. Now it is set at 4. I'm pretty sure that 4 would do for this pattern, But just to be safe, I am going to make it 6, which is inches, how far it will go without making me cut the thread. Now I'm going to go back to home, and I'm going to make sure that my needle is engaged, that it is white in the square, and I'm going to push my green start button. It's telling me the machine will move to the start of the pattern block and the pattern will start. So it wants to make sure that the needle is up and nothing is in the way of the machine. Now it's ready to start. It's telling me to pull up my bobbin thread, which I will do. I'm going to hit the check mark to tell it I've done what it told me. It will tie a knot, and we're off to the races. Now I can go over to my sewing machine and piece my next quilt. I can go down and get supper started in the crock pot. I can do whatever I want, but I should be close enough to hear my machine so that I can hear if it changes pitch. That'll tell me that the thread is broken. Or I can just keep coming back to checking on it. But I don't have to stand here and watch it the whole time because it is going to fill the entire quilt area for me. Once you learn the sound of your machine, you'll be able to hear when it runs out of bobbin or when the thread breaks. So here's your money maker, folks. Now it's making money while I go play. I'm going to tell it the thread broke, and then it releases the machine so that I can move it out of the way and clear up the threading mess here because it went quite a ways without the bobbin. And this is actually an excellent lesson to show you how to deal with a thread break or what happens when you run out of bobbin. So I pulled the top thread out back to where I had some nice stitches, and now I'm going to replace the bobbin.
Good. All right.
Put it back in. All right. Now I'm going to come back to where I think I want it to start. I'm going to hit the green check mark. It's going to say, is this where you want to restart? I'll tell it yes. And it's going to tell me to pull up the bobbin thread and press OK. So because it has now registered where I'm going to start, I can push it away and look to see if I'm close enough. And I don't like where that is, so I'm going to tell it to do it again. I'm going to push the X. And now I can push the green and I can actually set start because I didn't like where it was going to start before. And I can do that as many times as I have to until I land exactly where I want it to be. And there you have it. Even with the thread break, Tin Lizzie and the Quilt Magician have quilted this entire area for me while I was off doing something else. So as I said before, this is your money maker. Thanks for joining us at Tin Lizzie 18, where we're committed to helping quilters of all levels realize their quilting dreams.
Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest. Check out our calendar regularly for upcoming webinars, new videos, and classes. Happy quilting!